someone else into the center of a relationship. A healthy relationship means you're dealing directly with the other person.
After this divorce, we just continue on like our lives have never changed. Is that legal?
Well, it's not any different than what you are to Robyn and Janelle and Christine right now.
I agree. I totally agree.
I'm worried that somehow this will mean that you somehow start favoring Robyn, or that the balance of...
That I'm going to ride off with her into the sunset.
Hi, friends. There are barely a few times on Sister Wives that you actually see Robyn totally lose it while speaking with Kody. More often than not, when she is in his presence, she flips on the waterworks because let's get real, crying is her mood. It's the way she plays the victim, so it's simple for Kody to come and rescue her. It's typical manipulation, crying to get her way, pretending to be helpless while keeping him firmly in her pocket. But here's something to think about. Does Robyn ever truly lose her temper? Rarely. And when she does, it's almost always tied to one of two things: money or securing things for her kids. And now that we've uncovered just how much she's been spending and on what, things start making a lot more sense. Oh, and before we get too far, if you're a fan of content that outed narcissistic behavior, be sure to read my deep dives on Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Justin Baldoni. I promise you, if you're following along, you'll be obsessed with those tales too. Let's go back in time to the beginning seasons now. When Robyn first joined the scene, she arrived aggressively, forceful, bold, and truthfully alienating to the other wives. But in tandem with that, she was never without tears, using emotional manipulation to get Kody to cave to every single one of her requests. And when she would finally snap, it was only over things directly related to herself, whether housing for her children or money issues. And now, with what we know about her expenditure, it all makes sense. Talking about money, get this: Robyn has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on sheer rubbish. The most astonishing, a whopping $770,000 over the past few years spent on, wait for it, American Girl dolls and doll outfits. Yes, you read that correctly. This is not impulse shopping. This is compulsive, irresponsible spending that has been a recurring theme throughout her whole marriage to Kody. But here is where it really gets wild. Before she became a part of the Brown household, Robyn supposedly did similar things with her former husband. She reportedly obtained credit lines using his company as collateral, near bankrupting him and ruining his business. And still, when that scenario was featured on Sister Wives, that was turned upside down as well. The story was crafted with such care to present her as a victim rather than the mastermind of the financial catastrophe. Now, let's fast forward to the present, and you begin to see the true motive for Robyn wanting to reunite the other wives with the family. Is it unity, love, it's power, and better yet, money? She requires that financial security because, for her, shopping is not merely a hobby, it's a habit. Consider it this way: money is her way of obtaining her next high, and shopping is the rush she's seeking. So, whenever money becomes questionable, whenever she feels like she may lose access to that money, that's when we see her spiral. And watching back on some moments from the show, knowing what we know presently, it's absolutely clear what was actually going on. So, when Robyn lashed out at Kody back then, what was really going on? Stick around because we're about to break it all down. A couple of years ago, when the Browns were selling their homes in Las Vegas after relocating to Flagstaff, things turned ugly. And believe me, in hindsight here, it speaks volumes about what Robyn will do behind the scenes when there's money on the line. So let's dissect. Originally, Janelle Brown was going to take care of selling the home. She would head back to Vegas on weekends and hold open houses, hoping to sell them to buyers. But the thing is, open houses may work on occasion, but they're not necessarily the optimal strategy. Serious buyers tend to set up private viewings with an agent as opposed to dropping by an open house. And in Janelle's situation, the houses weren't selling. Now, let's get real. Janelle was not exactly a #1 best-selling real estate agent. If you check out her record, she had only sold a few houses in Las Vegas. This was not her full-time career, and that became apparent when the sales weren't taking place. But this is where it gets interesting. Christine had her real estate license as well, and though she wasn't actively practicing as an agent, she was savvy savvy enough to notice a huge issue. And this is the important part. Janelle wasn't only having trouble selling the house, she was also crossing some boundary. Rather than taking care of it discreetly, she involved several family members in discussions that needed to stay confidential between a client and agent. And in real estate, that's a huge problem. Christine, clever enough to catch on, recognized that having Janelle represent her wasn't really in her best interest, and lo and behold, she was correct. In the end, the family did decide to move away from Janelle being in charge of sales. But now that we know what we know, it all makes perfect sense why Christine was so thoughtful in setting up property titles in Flagstaff in the future. She wasn't just doing things willy-nilly, she was smart about it. So, with all that said, let's take a step back. If Robyn was creating this kind of drama over selling homes years ago, imagine what must happen in the background when actual financial struggle comes knocking on the door. And believe me, what we've learned so far about her shopping habits makes this whole story even more revealing. Hang in there, because there's a whole lot more to learn. When Christine was discussing her right to have confidential conversations with her broker about the sale of her own home, she was totally right. And in all honesty, this information provided her with a tremendous advantage when she made choices in Flagstaff. Christine ensured that her home was in her name, borrowed against it in her name, took Kody off the title, and, most importantly, knew that legally she wasn't required to provide Kody with any of the money from the sale. This placed her in the ideal position to leave when the time arrived. Now, back to the Las Vegas home. Janelle was struggling to sell them, and she suggested dropping the prices by $40,000 to attract buyers. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, not to Robyn. She flipped out. Here's the thing. January isn't exactly a great month to sell a house. Every real estate pro I know will advise you to put a home on the market during the spring or early summer when the market is most red hot. People need to get in before school resumes and the buyers are in full gear. So, with the slow sale, Janelle's idea of reducing the price was genius, but Robyn, she lost it, and this was so telling. As it turns out, Kody had been wanting to drop the prices for months, but rather than tell Robyn himself, he had Janelle do so. Why? Because he knew she'd have an adverse reaction. Rather than own up, he blamed it on Janelle. Janelle wants to reduce the prices, so Robyn wouldn't be angry at it. And this is precisely what individuals have stated about Robyn when it comes to finance. Right before the family began to implode, there was a huge blow-up between Janelle, Mary, and Kody. The problem? Money. Specifically, the fact that the family's collective money was burning rapidly, and Robyn was the one doing the spending. Looking back, it all makes sense. Kody avoided money conversations with Robyn because he knew what would happen. And now, knowing what we do about their financial situation, it's clear this wasn't just about selling house, this was a pattern. Robyn's spending was doing actual damage to the family, and behind the scenes, she was nothing like the cool, collected person she presents on television. She was manipulative, she screamed, and when I heard her snarl like that, I thought, wow. Initially, I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. Was Kody the issue? Was Robyn? Or was it both of them? But as time went on, it became obvious Robyn had a knack for leaving Kody hanging. She used her anger and her tears strategically, depending on the circumstances, and due to that, Kody had to tiptoe around her most of the time, particularly in regards to the other wives. She always had one card up her sleeve. If you don't like it, you can leave and be with your other wife. But now, that bluff is removed. Kody has broken with the other wife, so Robyn can't hold that over his head anymore. If she is really serious about getting out, she needs to actually go. She can't make empty threats. Her only real choice at this point is divorce. And if she does that in there, what's Kody gonna do? Accept, okay? If he still needs to be with her, he may bend. The thing is, Robyn's losing control. I believe some of her breakdown over the other wives departing wasn't entirely about the money. Yes, money was involved, but I also believe she's upset that she no longer has all the control. Robyn is losing her power over Kody by means of that threat, the one she used repeatedly. If you don't like it, go be with your other wives. She used to kick him out repeatedly, knowing he had another place to go, but now he has nowhere to go. So when they fight, she can no longer send him away. And as their finances pinned, her extreme extravagant spending revealed, the child support lawsuit in Utah, the perpetual struggle over Coyote Pass, and the division of property added to the fact that the show will not be on forever. These battles, they're just going to worsen behind the scenes. We don't get to see that aspect of things, but now that we know what she's been doing with money, now that we've seen evidence on Etsy and otherwise, doesn't it put things in a new light? Can you see now how she was manipulating Kody, how she went crazy over money? And can you recall another instance she had a meltdown that wasn't money related? If so, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback. I always rewatch episodes during hiatuses, but if there's something you'd like me to do, let me know. And don't forget, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.